How you doing, everyone? And welcome to this episode of the Isaac Hayes Show, talking about life, talking about liberty, and yes, talking about the pursuit of our happiness and to show the audience and the world that Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good Monday. I know it's Monday here. Technical difficulties. A lot. To start the show off, the camera didn't work. I'm like, okay, so we had to retake. As a lot of you know, this is pre-recorded. I had to retake that. Okay, I stopped everything and redid it. Put the music on. I'm starting to talk, and I notice nothing is coming in my ears or through the screens. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Hit the wrong button. But we're good now. We're good. I got it. As you can tell, I'm supporting my LSU Tigers. They're going to be playing, I think, Baylor in the bowl game. Saints did not do well. Now, there was no college football because of, they set up the college football stuff and all that. That happens next week. And we get to watch some college football playoffs and all that. And my Tigers, unfortunately, went to a bowl game. But that's still good. That's still good. And we also got some good news that Nussmeier is coming back. Is that really some good news, though? A lot of you LSU fans might be, I don't know, Isaac, is that some really good news? But anyway, Nussmeier is coming back. He is a all right quarterback. Glad he's coming back. And look, this guy earned his stripes. He deserves to be the starter at LSU. Sat down under Jalen Daniels when he was there before Jalen Daniels. And now Jalen Daniels, like I said, the Saints, he beat up on my Saints. Saints should have came back. And I know a lot of you might be saying, Isaac, we don't care about football. I like football. I'll mention it every so often. But anyway, yeah, the Saints lost by 1 point. Should have kicked the field goal. Should have went into overtime. You had the momentum. Why go for 2? It was to win the game. I don't understand that too. Okay, your playoff hopes are in the balance, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why the Saints coaching staff decided, hey, let's go ahead and go for this. It might get us a shot into the playoffs, possibly. But now all hope is lost, in my humble opinion. But I'm still a Saints fan. I'll cheer for the Saints. But yeah, again, I'm wearing the LSU cap. I am a Cajun fan, by the way. I always talk about the Cajuns. I just don't have a Cajun cap. I haven't bought a Cajun cap in years, so I'm going to have to go buy one. Unless one of y'all want to give me a Christmas gift. Hey, I wouldn't mind. I'll even wear it on the set if you give me a cap. Now possibly I'm going to have, because my show averaged around 30 to 40 listeners on Rumble and on YouTube. There's several other listeners. I might get, I don't know how many caps, and my wife's gonna be like, "What's this?" I'm sorry, I just said. Anyway, but yeah, I hope your weekend was well, and got a lot of topics to cover that I think is going to be interesting, and I'm hoping that you enjoy the show. If you do enjoy the show, please consider following the show and also liking and subscribing. And I didn't have this in my notes. I forgot about this. It's been a long weekend. I worked Saturday and all that stuff. But I want to go ahead and mention this before we get into any stories. We passed a milestone on Rumble. We have passed 100 followers on Rumble. And I think that deserves some cheers. You know, it deserves some cheers. All my studio audience in the studio today cheering it on. No, this is y'all guys. Y'all deserve this applause, not me. Because I try to give my 110% to the show, and you know, I do my best. But if you weren't here listening, you know, this would all just be me acting like a crazy person sitting in a room just talking to myself. A lot of times it is. There's nobody around. But anyway, y'all guys stay and listen. Y'all guys like and follow, and y'all tell your friends, hey, go listen to that crazy Cajun conservative down in South Louisiana. And passing 100, a lot of people go, well, Isaac, it's only 100 followers. Yes, but it's something. It's a small step in a bigger goal that we have here at the show. And, you know, I want to say thank you to everybody. Look, I want to thank Two Mics Live. I would like to thank Handy News. I would like to thank Wendy Wild, that's monitoring the chat, Kelby and Joe, and, you know, Scott Ford, and all these people that follow the show. You know, and look, if on the podcast side, I think we had like 120 some followers on Spotify. Don't know how many is on Apple. I would have to go look, but majority of my listeners come from Apple Podcasts. So thank you. Thank you guys. YouTube, where we stalled out a little bit, but that is expected. But I've been focusing a lot on Rumble and Facebook. And Facebook, we've been having the episodes down a little bit, and but I'm excited, and I want to say thank you to all my Rumble people that are watching and listening right now. This was made possible by you guys. You decided to hit the follow button. We're at 104. I asked for 4 on Friday's episode. I said, look, I only need 4 more episodes. I mean, 4 more. That was 4 more followers, and I hit 100, and we hit 104 on Friday. So I'm asking you guys, if you're watching the show and you like the show and you're returning, hit the like button, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Hit the buttons. The buttons help us. Hit the like buttons. Candy on the chat, if she's listening, is going to be like, yes, tell them, Isaac, because she tells people, come on, we got 30-some people. We should have 30 likes, possibly. But thank you guys. You guys made this possible, and my heart is overjoyed. And I'm excited. I am blessed by you guys. Y'all make my day every time I open up the chat on Rumble, and y'all guys are there. And any other chat, because I do follow the Facebook and YouTube if I get the opportunity. But I want to say that first. Thank you, guys. And like I said, this comes from rating. This comes from encouraging people to hit the buttons. And I'm excited. I'm excited. So we, also, I want to give a shout out to Amber May. I've scheduled to be part of her show. We are filming that in the future of this episode. And when it comes out, I'll let you know. So thank you, Amber, for always supporting us. And we're a big, happy Cajun conservative family here in the show. Everybody that's in the chat and everyone that is listening. All right. Let's dive into the news stories that I talked about. So the drone sightings and everything that's happening in New Jersey has spread, according to Fox News. It is spread to multiple states. There's multiple states that are starting to see these drones. Now it's starting to expand. And when I first saw this, you see drones in the sky, you wonder, but Mike Calderese from 2 Mics Live made a good point on his TikTok the other day. Why is these things only coming out at night? And the public is starting to get concerned. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this play out. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday at church, I had so many people come ask me, what is your opinion on the drone sightings? And look, I don't know if it's a foreign entity or a government. Okay, we just don't know. But the thing of it is, this is all staying under hush hush. You have the administration telling us not to worry about it. We're going to figure it out. And ladies and gentlemen, that scares me the most out of this whole situation. The federal government telling us, hey, don't worry about it. We got it. We seen what happened when they got it. Everything turns to crap. The federal government telling us don't worry about it makes me want to worry about it. And we had an article this week of on Fox News where a former DIA, let me go to my notes. Got some things in the works right here. Let's see. Yeah, former CIA officer saying, hey, this might just be some military exercise that is going on. Possible, but why not let the public know about it? Okay, things like this, I wonder. Okay, if the government is doing something around your neighborhood, they should let you know, hey, don't be scared. This isn't foreign entities. This isn't our enemies starting to invade us like Red Dawn. It's just us doing military exercises. But it's not that. It's all hush hush. You have the Pentagon saying, no, it is not this. A senator from New Jersey made a statement about a mothership, and without any evidence, the Pentagon comes out and says, that ain't true. That senator's lying. The senator has clearance. He's calling people and asking questions, and they're just going to dismiss it. And look, there's wild conspiracy theories going around with this. But this story is starting to gain momentum. People are scared. If you watch 2 Mics Live in their anniversary video, which I want to tell them, happy 1-year anniversary. Happy 1-year anniversary to you guys at 2 Mics Live. That is awesome. The way they have gained traction and they have done so much with that show. Congratulations on the 1-year anniversary. But they were at the Garden Distillery, and I hope I said the name right. They were asking people there, hey, what do you think about the drones? And people are scared. People are saying, hey, shoot these things out of the ground. We don't know what they are. We don't know if they're war drones. We just don't know. Is this a foreign entity? But you're hearing nothing, almost nothing, from the Biden administration. Yeah, you hear Kirby come out and make some statements on it. Karine Jean-Pierre made some comments on it as well. But the comments are this. Hey, y'all don't worry about it. Let us handle it. Again, that's scary. Me as an American citizen, I am very scared. when I hear the federal government say, hey, we're here to help you, or hey, don't worry about it, just trust us, we will make it right. Look, this is what we're hearing. This is what we're hearing from the Biden administration, somewhat right now. If I could hit the right button. See, wrong button. That's what we're hearing. We might be hearing this too, I'm just saying. We're living in the Twilight Zone. All right, hit the wrong button, but it fit. But this is what we're hearing, crickets. We're hearing crickets from the Biden administration. Again, they're giving us little bits and pieces. Now, getting ready for this and reading these stories, and you have to see our process. I know we all do it different, but Amber May, Two Mice Live, myself, we all do it different, but we always read the story, and I'm guessing, I know I do, when I read it, I get thoughts, and I write them down. And I started thinking about something, getting ready for this, and talking about this now it's spreading, that other states are starting to see this. They're starting to see these drones, and now there's even questions, is this an alien invasion? Most likely not. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Most likely not. But I started thinking about this when I'm hearing all these stories of drones and how the Biden administration is just they're not in a rush to figure out what this is. Do you remember? I think it was earlier this year or maybe last year. There was an incident where a balloon was floating around the north part of the United States. Do you remember that people were wondering, what is this thing in the sky? It was like a big hot air balloon flying across the United States, flew over some of our highly sensitive areas. And it was told that, oh, this is a balloon and it might be from China, but we don't want to shoot it down in case it's going to hurt somebody. And do you remember that span of almost a week and a half, where the Biden administration didn't even want to touch this with a 10-foot pole? And when they finally decided to shoot it down, like they couldn't shoot a spear at it. They shot 2 missiles, the first time missing. That shows the competency of the Biden administration in the military. And they shot this balloon down in the Atlantic Ocean, where they couldn't find all the parts. Most of them sunk. And they just said, we told China not to do this again. Well, why are you worried? If it was just a balloon that the Chinese government lost, or it was a weather balloon, why not just say, hey, don't do that again, and throw sanctions on them. This is reminding me of the Chinese spy balloon, but it's on a grander scale. Okay, think about it. It ain't just one balloon we're worried about. It's several drones that are flying at night. The American citizens are worried, and the Biden administration, the response of it is no, we're not going to worry about it, and let's hope it goes away. Let's just hope these drones stop flying. Let's hope these drones don't do no more damage, and we're just going to be quiet about it. Now, this is raising concerns, though, too. Because there's people that are saying, hey, we're going to take our shotguns and we're going to boom. Think about it. Okay, first, again, we don't know what these drones are. We don't know if I doubt they have missiles on them, but we just don't know. And people are getting so frustrated, they're going to take their double-barrel shotgun like Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies and shoot at it. You remember, if you ever watched the Beverly Hillbillies, in the very first episode, they never saw a helicopter. They never saw anything flying in the air, and the oil field companies come in to look at their property, and the guy is going down on a rope, and Granny sees this helicopter, and the first thing she's thinking is, let me get a gun, because that's the biggest bird I ever seen. They shot at it, and they dropped the guy from the helicopter. And they was like, oh, it only got one claw, but it grabbed up a man. This is what people are doing. They don't know what it is, so they're gonna. And look, I'm not trying to make fun of my people in New Jersey, because look, Mike Alderich and Michael Swartz, 2 good people in New Jersey. But I'm just using that as an analogy for you to visualize what I'm saying here. People don't know what's going on in the air, and now they want to start shooting these suckers. And look, I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, look, I don't know. And look, I even said that too. Hey, we need some practice for duck season. I don't know. It just, people are starting. This is not because they want to make this a joke. I'm making it as a joke right now, but there's people that are scared. They don't know this is a foreign entity. They don't know this is the U.S. government. They don't know. And the Biden administration is being silent on it. All they're saying is, don't worry about it. We got it. There's no issues for you to be scared. Well, what is it? We don't know. Well, I'm scared right now. We just don't know. And look, this is the proper response from Trump, because people saying, hey, we should shoot it down. But Trump's saying, hey, the federal government should have done this before. Former President Trump weighed in and suggested that the drones should be shot down if we don't know who they belong to. And if we know who they belong to and they're a foreign adversary, you tell them, take away your drones, delete the data that you got from them. If not, we're going to go ahead and send something flying over your area. And it's not going to be a drone. Trump is right, and he calls this for stronger national security. Think about it. If this is a foreign adversary that is trying to get our secrets, they seen China had no problem with the spy balloon. We had a spy balloon supposedly, with air quotes, undetected. And the only reason supposedly that the federal government knows about these drones is because somebody pulled out a camera. This thing right here, a cell phone, can tell you, can take videos. It's not like the day that we hope we had a camera to catch stuff. No, you got a computer in your hand. Wait, look, on mine, the 3 dots, I got the Pro, the 13 Pro. You can go ahead and catch video now. There's no hiding this stuff no more. And all you're hearing is, look, again, this is all you're hearing from the Biden administration. That's all you're hearing is crickets. You're hearing these crickets because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what it is. But again, these drones are only detected. We need to have a better. Are we in a threat? Are we in a threat? Again, my questions are what the American people are asking. They are frustrated. We want our nation to be protected. And I'm just thinking about this. This isn't on my notes. But this is one of the reasons why Biden and Harris didn't win the last election. Because people are tired of them saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Or let's say that they're tired of saying, hey, we're going to help Ukraine, we're going to help the LGBTQ community, we're going to help this group of people because they're DEI, we're going to help. And the American people are like, well, what about our safety? What about our needs? You're not part of the minority. We're going to go focus on all these people. I promise you, and just making an assumption here. I promise you, if drones were flying over Ukraine, Biden would say, y'all need to stop doing that. Russia, we're going to shoot them drones down. But because it's in America, it's all right. Look, I think this is part of the American frustration. They're seeing Biden trying to help everybody else except the American people. Again, that's why they lost the last election. Because you have President Trump that's saying, hey, we don't know who you are. You're going to be shot down. And I promise you, we're not going to have no issues with drones after January 20th. Because if this is a foreign adversary, which I hope it's not, they're going to know Trump is not going to play around with them. But right now, this is under the... And look, I'm adding on to this segment because I'm starting to think about it a little bit more. This is why other countries wanted Biden to be president of the United States. Because he's weak. He might not even think these are drones. We haven't heard directly from him. We heard from John Kirby and other people. But we haven't heard from Biden on this issue that I'm aware of. Ladies and gentlemen, this needs to be addressed. But our president is not worried about current events. He's worried about getting his ice cream and to make sure his family and his partners in crime don't go to jail. This needs to be addressed. And look, we've been talking about it. I'm just making this point right here. The people of America are frustrated. And this is why we got Donald Trump back in the White House. And all you liberal people that, no, he's not. We just got people that are racist, homophobic, bigots in America. No, you can't go to that. The apple is in the pudding. I can use other analogies, but this shows the weakness of Biden, and this is why people didn't vote for Biden back or Harris back in the last election. This needs to get addressed, and guess what? We have, instead of the commander in chief, we got the confusing chief. Just making that point right there. All right, let's move on to the next story this week. Time Magazine's Person of the Year is Donald Trump. Trump has been named Time's Person of the Year, 2024 Person of the Year, after surviving an assassination attempt and winning the presidency again. Now, this is a surprise to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. Time Magazine is not your. This ain't Daily Wire Plus. This isn't Newsmax. This isn't Fox News. This is the Times, and them for them to pick Donald Trump is very surprising. Again, it is tradition to name the future president of the United States the 2024 Person of the Year by Times, and they might be staying with tradition. They might be, I don't know. But the thing of it is, it still surprised me, because normally liberal or outlets like that try to live on principle, and they hate Donald Trump. So they don't want Donald Trump to have any good light. Now, they had a whole interview with them, and some people were saying that he said tariffs are going to rise up and everything like that. But we made the point here why tariffs work. But this is, and again, look, the whole issue of Time naming Donald Trump the president, the Person of the Year, was because of his survival of assassination attempt and him winning presidency. So they said this. This is the two reasons, one of several that we. But were they forcing this, or were they trying to keep tradition? I am very surprised they did this, because this does make Donald Trump look good, because Donald Trump gets to go ring the bell. He got to ring the bell at Wall Street. He also made a point that, hey, we're going to get back on track with the economy, and he made some points that people got to see. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, I'm very surprised. This made Donald Trump look good in some way, some sense or form. But again, we're also hearing all of a sudden that Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, and I forgot the guy that owns not Sparrow. I'm thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean. The guy that owns Amazon. I can't think of his name. I know you're probably writing in the chat. Let's see, who owns Amazon? Let's make this right. Jeff Bezos. Thank you, Jeff Bezos donated $1 million to the Donald Trump inaugurational fund. Now, all of a sudden, you look at this. All of a sudden, these people that were anti-Trump, never Trumpers, all of a sudden liking Donald Trump, by the way. So maybe that's why Times did it. They don't want to get, they don't want to be labeled as fake news with Donald Trump. This is maybe why they did it. And again, I know this is traditional that Time Magazine, they always pick the current president or the president to be as the Person of the Year. I understand all that, but to make Donald Trump look good isn't flying by them. And you know why I know it's not flying by the left-leaning media? Because there's backlash and there's comparison to Donald Trump being dictators. This is coming from The View. Annie Navarro and others on The View are comparing Donald Trump to Hitler and Stalin. Now, this happened on their program. I think it was Friday when this was announced. And Annie Navarro said this. Well, you know who else was on the Time Magazine? Hitler and Stalin. They were the Persons of the Year. Now, the 2024 Person of the Year does not mean they did something good. It just means they captured the news. So I can give her that point, but she was not comparing this as, oh, well, look, this is just a news article. They do this when a person captivates all the news, and they're talking about. No, she was comparing Donald Trump to dictators. This is what she was trying to do. She was trying to downplay this. This isn't something good for Donald Trump. Look, Stalin and Hitler was on. It means bad people have been on Times Magazine, and she feels this is what Donald Trump has done. She believes Donald Trump is a bad person, that he's a dictator with no proof, by the way. No proof. And they even try to compare, in the article he said things are going to be hard to go down and that tariffs are going to raise things up. Sonny Holstein, he's just a liar. He's just a liar. Really? And your golden boy, Joe Biden, was not? You're trying to tell me? And look, again, I always bring this point out. both sides of the aisle lie. I'm not going to go ahead and say the Republicans are all righteous and the left is full of hypocrites and liars. I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you balls and strikes the way I see them. Both sides of the aisle lie. One lies a little bit more than the other, I will say that, but they both lie. But for Sonny Holston, he's just a compulsive liar. Well, your boy, like I said, your golden boy, Joe Biden, never made a lie? You won't even cover his lies. You won't even cover his mistakes. If I'm not mistaken, The View hasn't talked about drones. They haven't talked about how the lack of response to Biden with the drones, they don't bring that up. But comparing Donald Trump to Stalin and to Hitler shouldn't be done. That is not a fair comparison. Stalin and Hitler killed millions of people. Donald Trump was a president of the United States, did not even touch his political opponents, and I doubt if he touches political opponents this time. But he's just a compulsive liar. He died. It's not the reason they made the statement is because they hate Donald Trump. Now, I will bring this point up. 8 years ago, they didn't hate Donald Trump. Oh, no, they wanted Trump on The View. They even asked him about running for president of the United States. Every time Donald Trump came in, yay, oh, Donald Trump. Now, 8 years later, since he's a Republican and has gone against their narrative, all of a sudden now he's compared to Stalin and Hitler. And look, this isn't the first time that a news organization or a show has compared Donald Trump to Hitler and to Stalin. Several left-leaning news sites have done this already. This is to make Donald Trump look bad. Again, there's no proof. There's one video where he was making a joke to Sean Hannity. And he said, I'm going to be a dictator on day one. I'm going to sign to drill, baby, drill, and to close the border. After that, I'm not going to be a dictator. He was talking about executive orders, which is his right, apparently, under the Constitution. Do I agree with it? No. But it's there. Oh, you see, I think he's going to be a dictator. I even had one of my good friends use that on me, and I told him that was a joke. Now, I could go back and say, well, Biden told Ukraine, hey, you fire that prosecutor or we're not going to go ahead and give you no money. Well, SOB, they fired the prosecutor. Quick pro quo. Biden said he was never involved with his son's business dealings. That all come back to be as false. I'm just saying. There's no proof of him being a dictator, but they're going to still do. The question is why they keep on doing this, because they see his influence as a direct challenge to their ideology. That's it. They don't like him because he's rocking their boat. I'm just making it's the same. Look, the view's wacko like that. Okay, look, I'm starting to agree with Mike on Dr. Mike from the Dr. Michael Source Show. Check him out before my show airs on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Dr. Mike made this comment, and I agree with him. A lot of people saying, shut the View off. No, let's leave the View on. People get to see their stupidity, which helps us, hopefully. And I have stuff to talk about. Like Whoopi saying RFK was fat shaming. No, RFK is really worried about people's health. And look, I can't say nothing. I'm fat. Okay, I'm just... Now, I am in the process of trying to get rid of my fat. So that's a... But I realize there's a problem me physically, and I'm trying to work on it. There's certain people out there that keep eating their food, and they don't know what's causing their obesity. They don't know what's causing them being overweight. And guess what? They don't realize there's stuff in our food. And that's all RFK wants to do. But, oh, you're fat shaming people. The truth hurts sometimes. I'm just making that point. But yeah, The View gives us tons of material. But they're not going to give credit. I talked about this the other day. They're not going to give Donald Trump. If Donald Trump cures cancer, they're going to say Donald Trump messed up the medical industry because now doctors won't have money. Or the pharmaceutical companies can't sell drugs. They're going to make up something bad when Donald Trump does something good. Just making that point. They don't even want a MAGA hat on set. Remember the other day I talked about that? Forrest, I think her name is, said, well, you know, if he helps get the hostages out, I'm gonna wear a MAGA hat. Oh, Sonny, oh please don't bring that demonic thing inside this studio. I made it the part about the demonic stuff. They're not gonna go ahead and give Donald Trump no credit. But this is why I bring this out for them. And look, they're not gonna get checked on this. Okay, that might be the one thing. See, there's there's a possibility I can make a statement here, and mainstream media, podcasters make this this comparison of Trump, and they're gonna show it, and you can hear the view. This podcaster said it. There's a chance of that. Okay, it's the internet. But we're not big enough to where when we talk about it. Now, if we talk about, like, okay, if Amber and Dr. Mike and Mike Calderese and Kelly talk about it on their shows and Handy News brings it out, yeah, it's going to get to ears. And it's going to expose the view. But there's not going to be major networks that are going to come out and tell them, hey, look, they're comparing him to Hitler, but let's go ahead and look at Donald Trump's history. Did Donald Trump do this? Did Donald Trump do that? They don't have people like that. And look, maybe the closest one be the Blaze or the Daily Wire. I don't know, but even that, they only reach a certain amount. They're not gonna go like on CBS Evening News and make this comparison. Not compare to call out the View. They're not. Why? Because that's a left-leaning person, and Fox might do it too. I'm just saying. I don't think there's people. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know, but I'm just saying the View need to be held accountable for this. What if Donald Trump's the greatest president these 4 years? See, that's another thing. I know I'm harping on this, and I'm sorry. I just want to make you aware of this. Donald Trump could be the greatest president of all time. He can win. He can stop world hunger. He can stop cancer. He can bring the economy up to 1,000%. He can do so much good stuff for this country. But the mainstream media are still going to find a reason to backlash him or to say something bad about him. Because they hate him. It's not based on facts. And look, they're not hoping he does good. That's another point. The View, the mainstream media, liberal, hardcore liberals, they don't want Donald Trump to be a good president. They're hoping he fails. See, me, when Biden got elected, I disagree with his points, but I was kind of hoping, hey, at least if he does something good for the country, it helps us. I learned this from a long time ago. Excuse me. When Barack Obama got in there, had a lady that's dear to my heart, like a second mama, made a statement to me when Barack Obama got in. She said, look, I disagree with him. I didn't vote for him, but I hope he's the greatest president because it benefits America. Boom! The left don't think like that. If they voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and now that Donald Trump, they're hoping Donald Trump fails. I have a friend that's on TikTok, basically made that point. They don't want Donald Trump to succeed. They hope Donald Trump fails because they think he's a bad person. Again, a lot of people won't get checked on this. All right, let's go on. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. I thought this was funny. In a viral moment, kids correct Joe Biden's happy holidays to happy Christmas. This sparked a wider conversation about holiday greetings and the true meaning of the season. This is just funny. If you watch the video, Joe Biden goes out there and goes, oh, happy holidays. And you have about 4 or 5 kids that's going, it's happy Christmas. Now, if you've been listening, there's been a war on saying Merry Christmas for a while now, because this, if you listen to the argument, Merry Christmas is pointing to Jesus, and we just can't focus on Jesus. We got to go ahead and include everyone in this holiday season. Now, if you want more on Christmas or you want more on any holiday, go check out Brothers Just Searching, my other podcast with my brother and a good friend of ours that put together. We're doing a teaching on Christmas this week. It'll be out on Wednesday night. Go check it out. But on the point with this, though, happy holidays and going to happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas is because they don't want to offend nobody. And this has been the trend for a while. Now, if you remember, though, the whole reason, supposedly the whole reason, I know a lot of the background of Christmas and it's winter solstice and all that stuff. I understand all that, but the whole concept of Christmas is the birth of Christ. And this is why they use happy holidays, again, to erase the message of Christmas. Because Christmas is to go ahead and celebrate Jesus. And it's also, like, again, not to offend the people that don't believe in Jesus, like the atheists. Okay, you probably go look at the atheists right now. They probably got lights up, they got a Christmas tree up, and they're handing gifts. And when you ask them, "Hey, what are you celebrating?" "Oh, we celebrating the holidays." You shouldn't even be looking at Christmas. You don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. You don't even believe in God, and you're celebrating Christmas. But we can't offend those people. It's the same way with other groups of individuals that don't believe in God or holiday, and they just don't. Hey, we don't want to offend him, so we got to say happy holidays, and erase the whole message altogether, in which is Christ and his birth, remembering the birth of Jesus. And this is the key point on this. They're trying to push Jesus out of the equation. This is why Joe Biden said happy holidays. Now, she might not know that, but this is what culture has taught her. To not offend people, you need to say happy holidays instead of Christmas. And look, I'm happy that this happened. Because somebody's parenting their kids right. And the White House must have not did a good vetting job, because they let these kids in. And when these kids, happy Christmas, and Joe Biden, oh yes, happy Christmas. She's like, oh, I stepped on it. There's a lot. Well, Isaac, you're reading into things. No, I'm not. This is just my experience watching the news and seeing what's going on. And like, again, look, this is my thoughts on it. Remember, I'm an opinionist. I give opinions. And this is the whole reason why she probably said happy holidays, because she didn't want to offend nobody. And guess what? These kids, like I said, out of the mouth of babes, as Jesus said. Again, I have a belief on Christmas and everything. You find that out on Brothers Just Searching. It airs this Wednesday night. Go check it out at 7 o'clock after Dr. Mike and everybody. So that's also on Rumble too. Brothers Just Searching. Go check it out. All right. Nancy Pelosi had an injury, and she was hospitalized while traveling in Luxembourg. She was Nancy Pelosi I think she hurt her hip and everything like that. And to be honest with you, this is because of age. Older people, they have issues, and they might break their hip if they fall and everything. And look, Nancy Pelosi is 84 years old. Okay, first off, I want to make this point before going on. We need to pray for her. Isaac, really? Yes, we need to pray for her. First off, for her salvation. If you know the Lord Jesus Christ, you know what I'm talking about. Secondly, we need to pray for her protection. This is a woman of Congress. Okay, she's still a leader. I don't agree with her policies. I don't agree with her stance, but she's still a leader of power. And the Bible says to pray for our leaders, Democrat or Republican. Pastor Daniel of our church at New Beginning Fellowship said it yesterday, where he made the point, hey, we need to pray for both sides, just not for one side, both sides, because they're our leaders. That is a point that I'll hold on to. But this does raise some questions, in my humble opinion. Is it time for her to retire and let the younger leaders take over? Well, yes and no, because let me say it like this, not yes and no on her retirement. She's 84 years old. She needs to go. Okay, she is old as an old fart. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just making that point. She needs to leave Congress. She's 84 years old. Okay, I would not imagine owning a company. And now, if it was an easy job, sitting down, stamping something, or I can understand, hey, you let this person stay over for, a little while longer. But 84 years old, running a country or helping to run a country at 84, I wouldn't imagine, like I said, owning a company and telling an 84-year-old person to lift up on an 80-pound box. I just won't. I wouldn't do it. It's time for her to retire. It's time for her to go enjoy her old age. Now, this also raised another question. On my notes it says, "Let the younger leaders take over." Well, you're gonna have younger people, but does this bring out the points that there should be an age limit to run? Because we have an age limit in each chamber of the House or Congress. Okay, in Congress you can run at 25 years old. I think in Senate is 30, and for president you have to be at least 35 years old. The founding fathers did this because they felt that the more mature the person was could run, it had to be a little older. Okay, there's an age limit on that, but there is no age limit on how long a servant of Congress or someone that's serving in Congress, like if they're 80 some years old. There's no age limit on it. 75. There's nothing. Okay. There's no outgoing age limit. And I think they should. Now, there maybe was a reason that the founding fathers didn't do it. I can do some research and make sure, but there should be an age limit for this. Because again, look, Dianne Feinstein died in the Senate. She was in a wheelchair and her eyes are drooping and she's going there to make votes. Now, that's elder abuse. Same thing with Joe Biden, okay? Now, look, a lot of people might be throwing, hold on, if that's the case, Donald Trump couldn't have run for president. No, Donald Trump is old. Okay, now he has more sense upstairs. So if you gave him a test on his ability to make decisions, he probably could make better decisions than Joe Biden and all of them. But at the same time, we wouldn't have these old people in service. If your birthday was after, we can always talk about it, but I'm just making them points. And look, 84 years old. Nancy Pelosi's 84. Dianne Feinstein in her 80s. Bernie Sanders, 80 some, I believe 80 some years old. Dr. Mike knows about this. Someone that was in New Jersey serving like their 8th or 9th term. And it's old. And look, I'm not trying to, please don't take this wrong. I'm not trying to disrespect the older individuals. Because a lot of people that listen to my show, and according to my stats on Spotify for creators, my listenership is 55. Most of my listenership from 55 to 70 something years old, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not trying to disrespect y'all guys. Please don't. I'm just making the point. Look, out of respect, I would not allow an 80-some-year-old person, in some cases, a 70-some-year-old person to do something. Okay, and look, you're running our country. Nancy Pelosi should retire and enjoy her old age with her husband. She shouldn't be worrying about making a bill or running Congress or being a House Speaker at 84 years old. She needs to say, look, I'm done. I'm done. And all the older politicians need, and of course, there's politics that play a role in it. If they would leave, Nancy, Bernie, all these other people, if they would leave, that means that the Republicans would have more control. So it's a political game. I understand it. But on the Republican side, all these people that are old in the Republicans, look, John McCain was old. Look, he served our country, and I honor him for that. But this man was old, and he was still serving in Congress. Look at Mitch. Look, let's talk about Mitch McConnell. The man fell in the Senate building and had to be rushed to the hospital. These are older individuals that should go and retire and be with their families. Again, politics play a big role in this. And it should. It should not play that big of a role, but it does, unfortunately. All right, let's move on. The spelling bee this week made some news, and I heard this from Megan Kelly and doing some research on it. The spelling bee decided to go ahead and accept a word, a different spelling of a word as the word is spelled. Now, at the spelling bee, they are very, very strict on making sure that the word is spelled correctly. They say words that I've never heard before or wouldn't even think start with an O. I would think it starts with an I. And they're very strict on making sure a word is correct. Now, if I would ask you today, spell the word woman. Woman, a definition. They'll give the definition or whatever. I'm just saying. And they're supposed to pull this all from the word, the Webster's Dictionary. And they even said that this is an alternate way of spelling in the Webster's Dictionary. I'm like, I don't see it. But the National Spelling Bee recently approved the term woman, spelled like this. WOMYN. Now, I have notes here. I use Pages and sometimes my notes, and I use a program where it organizes my notes and words, everything, and separates it for me and gives it to outline and everything like that. And if you spell the way I just spell woman in my notes, there's red dots at the bottom of it. You know what that means? It's spelled wrong. The device knows it's spelled wrong. I always was taught to spell woman WOMAN or women WOMNEEN. I spelled it wrong there. I apologize. But the spelling bee is doing this. Why? Because as part of the feminism agenda. See, the feminine agenda says you can't use the word man or men in the word woman or woman. So to change it, they put an I. Does that make it right? No. It does not make it right. When did spelling and accuracy take the back seat of avoiding people to be offended? See, this goes on to more arguments. Don't get me wrong, because people look, right is right and wrong is wrong. You can't say I'm going to spell something different or I'm going to go ahead and do this different. It might be wrong, but it's right in my eyes. Well, you're wrong. If it's right in your eyes, that don't make it right. It's wrong. And to not offend feminists, because woman or woman has M-A-N or M-E-N in it, we're offensive because it puts man in there. You know, look, feminism and communism and other forms of wokeism, they deny the Bible, so this is irrelevant to them. But you guys who believe the Bible in the chat and all, the Bible says why God or why they are called women. It's very simple. You go read the Bible, Genesis chapter 2, where God was talking about how God made Eve. He took a rib from Adam, who was a man, and he made woman. He shaped her out of the rib. And when God took Adam out of his sleep, Adam looked up and said, "Whoa, man!" He was excited. You know, he hadn't seen anything like this. He was like, "God, good job, man." And Adam called her woman because she was taken out of a man. That's why they are called woman. But not to the feminists. Oh, man, saying that men, we don't. Well, we're just going to change the definition of it. Or we're going to change the writing of it. It makes it fine. It's not offensive no more. And the spelling bee is taking this as, hey, if we ask a boy or girl at the National Spelling Bee, hey, spell woman, and they spell it W-O-M-Y-N, correct. No, it's not correct. It's wrong. But apparently the spelling bee just don't care no more. See, our standards have gotten lower, not higher. Now, what about if this continues? Okay, what if this stays? What else they're going to change? If we let this happen, okay, and look, people need to voice their opinion on this. If we allow this to keep on going, what else they're going to take and change the wording or change whatever it is and do different and say, oh, that's fine. I believe this is the start. This is the start to change the truth instead of just believing in the truth. If we let the spelling bee continue with this, it's going to lead to a lot more. It's going to lead to a lot of other things that are wrong. Again, wrong is wrong and right is right. No ifs, no and buts about it. It's going to, and look, it has already started. Okay, this is just a small sample of what the woke community does. Come on, you don't know what a woman is no more. Look, that's a whole funny thing too. They want to change the writing of it, but they don't even know what it. The left don't know what it means. You ask them, well, what is a woman? If you feel like a woman, you're a woman. I didn't ask that. What is a woman? They will not answer. Matt Walsh made a whole documentary on this. We're still talking about this about 5 years after the show was made. But they want kids to spell it wrong. What else is coming down the road? My goodness, when you go ahead and can't spell a word right, in case it offends somebody. All right, moving on. ABC settles Trump defamation lawsuit. ABC News and George Stephanopoulos were forced to pay millions to Donald Trump, I think like $15 million, after a defamation lawsuit. This is Donald Trump's second. If he had another one where he did this, and this comes after George Stephanopoulos allowed ABC allowed George Stephanopoulos to say a couple of things about Donald Trump, and they came out to be proven false. Now, George Stephanopoulos is a news anchor. I'm giving you air quotes because George Stephanopoulos, he has a lot of power at ABC, and he does give his opinion. Now, if it's called for him to give his opinion, I'm not worried about it, okay? But you have to make sure your opinion is accurate, by the way. All right, I come here and I read news stories and I pull from reliable sources, Fox News, Daily Wire, sometimes CNN, sometimes Politico. I pull from reliable news sources. And I get several confirmations before I talk about it. And this is because of the risk of being pulled down from social media. I make sure, and I tell people this. A lot of people tell me, that's wrong. You know, I've had several sources where I turn to make sure this was correct. If 5 sources say practically the same thing, you got to know it's right. But apparently George Stephanopoulos did not do some research, or he made a statement, and Donald, oh, you know what? I remember what it is now. They called him, it was after the incident with the lady that said he went into the room and she won the case and everything. And I don't know if he called him a rapist or whatever it is, but he made a statement on like that, and Donald Trump sued him. Now, he didn't have all the facts. All he knew is Donald Trump was liable. That's all he was. He was not convicted of SAing everybody. So, but Donald Trump made that statement. They made that statement. Now he is forced to pay Donald Trump. Now, this is a couple of points that I want to bring out here. First off, support journalists like George Stephanopoulos is supposed to report facts, not inject their own opinions or their political views. This is why I'm breaking this down too. I'm an opinionist. Okay, I call myself that. I don't call myself a new journalist. I don't call myself a news anchor. I produce a podcast that brings out the news, and I give you my opinion of what I just read or what I just heard or what I just watched. Okay, I put my 2 cents into it. I'm giving you my opinion. Again, but my opinion have to be based on facts of what I'm seeing. If I report something that somebody else said, well, I can go ahead and say, well, I heard this. And I could be wrong, in my opinion. But again, I try to make sure that all the facts line up before I make a statement. He didn't do this here. He injected his personal belief into the question that was being asked. And George Stephanopoulos is supposed to be a journalist and a news anchor, not an opinion person. Now, if he's on a panel and stuff, yeah, he can inject his opinion because they're asking for his opinion. But you have to go ahead and make sure that you're right. And this is why we need to hold the media to a higher standard. Okay, look, I'm not that. I'm praying one day I'll become a big time podcaster. I pray for all my friends that they could have successful shows to where we can do this full time. But we're giving you our opinions of what we see in the story. Now, that don't mean you don't hold us to a higher standard. We need to be held up to a higher standard, because if I lie to you, you should not listen to me. But these news people, they need to be held up. Because you know how many people, and I hear this from Dr. Mike all the time when he talks about his family members. They hear MSNBC and whatever that comes out their mouth, they're right. A lot of people do this with CNN and Fox News, by the way. I'm just saying. You need to make sure your stories are right. You know, people need to leave their personal feelings out of news. If you're reporting the news, you need to, and that's what I see with this right here. All right, moving on to our last couple of stories before we move on to our raid with the handy news. Hopefully this is out all the time, you know, because, hey, I'm speaking into the future. All right, so the Reagan movie came out, and the Reagan movie was a success. Real good movie. That and The Forge came out at the same time, and they both broke numbers for Christian movies and political movies. And there's been some issues with the Rotten Tomatoes score and the public score. Now, Rotten Tomatoes is the critics. They go there, they look at it, they watch it. Oh, it was good. It needed this, needed that, and they give it a 1 tomato Rotten Tomato, or they give it a 98 Rotten Tomato. If I'm not mistaken, the critics did not give this a good Rotten Tomato. But the thing of it is, the public gave it good. And this is an issue that is going on with a lot of news, with a lot of movies that are coming out that are labeled conservative or Christian. Critics go watch it and they give it a bad review, but the public gives a review. Why is this? Well, first off, these liberal critics that are watching this are liberal. And this movie, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm planning on watching, especially after this article, because apparently liberals don't like it, and I want to go see why. But they don't like this movie because it brings out the good side of Reagan. This was done by, I believe, a pro-conservative individual that went ahead and wrote the life of Reagan. It was a movie, it was a book, and then he made it into a movie. And it gives good light just not to Reagan, but also the conservative movement. And if you're a liberal, you're not going to like this. A lot of critics say it was boring. It had no action in it. It's a telling of a president that was a movie actor. And the critics are saying this because they don't want, in my opinion, they don't want a positive light on conservatism. This is Hollywood's political agenda, okay? Hollywood used to be conservative and they went more left. Now they're fully left. And you see this in a lot of movie actors right now. They are very, very liberal in their political stance. And this is why these critics are doing this. These critics are trying to make this movie bad, but this is the problem. You have a problem with the public's or the general audience watching this movie. They're saying this is a great movie. You know why? Because a lot of people like Reagan. If you remember the Reagan election, I think it was 84. Not 84 because that was George W. Bush. Trying to remember my dates. His last term. Let's just go with that. Reagan's last term only lost one state, and I think that was Minnesota. And the only reason that Reagan really didn't go there, he said he wanted his opponent to win one state. He was happy he won his home state. That's the only reason why Reagan lost Minnesota. He didn't push it. I think if he would have pushed it, he would have won Minnesota. But the general public, going back to my topic, the general public loved this movie because they love Reagan. And they thought the movie did a good job. This is why they have a high score of general audience liking this movie. And this is the issue with critics. Okay, critics can try to hurt a movie or try to help it. I don't really look at the critics no more. If I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I look up a movie, I see how the audience reaction is. Because majority of the critics have an agenda. They either want to tank this movie or they want it to succeed. If you flip it over and look at the general audience, they're going to tell you how they truly feel about a movie. This is what's unique about this show and several others. And I'm not live. Okay, it's premiering. It shows live. Yeah, we all understand that. It was a big confusion when I first started, but this show right here, I read the comments and I see how you guys think. I interact with you guys. If a critic would watch this show and look at it and say, "Oh, his lighting's bad. He has his camera in the wrong spot," and he's a liberal critic, 9 out of 10, he's not listening to what I'm saying. He's trying to find a problem with me, and that's not a true view of this show. But if you take people like Wendy Wild and Coco and definitely not Karen and all these other people that are even Dr. Mike and all, they watch this show and they say, "Ha." Now, look, I've taken criticism from other news hosts or another podcasters. And when I see that, I'm like, I need to change up this. I need to do this. And it works. It works. And it just, that's why I'm saying the general public loves this movie. One, because they love Ronald Reagan, but they also say it's a very good movie. But the liberals don't want you to see that. They don't. Hollywood don't want you to think good of any conservative figure, none whatsoever. And we see this right now. We see this right. Look, I watched the movie W the other day about George W. Bush, and that was done by a more on the lines of a liberal person. They didn't make George W. Bush look bad, but they didn't make him look good either. And they stopped it on a cliffhanger of him at a press conference not answering why he went into Iraq. They didn't bring that thing up. They left that at a cliffhanger. And you're like, oh man, was Bush a good person? Now look, I have my issues with W. Bush. I'm not gonna lie to you, but normally they don't make these type of movies about presidents. Don't make the president that look good if it's going against their agenda. And like I said, I believe this was somebody that loved Reagan. And to my knowledge, they did a real good job on the historical facts and everything. And it made Ronald Reagan look good. This was one of our most popular presidents. And I'm just, and look, I love movies like this. I'll make that point out. I love movies like this because these type of movies, they show the heart of the president if done right. Look, I watched a movie the other day. It was John F. K's RBJ. I can't think of his name at the moment. I don't know his initials, but they walked through him being vice president of John F. K. and the assassination of John F. K. Great movie, and Woody Harrison played the main character, and there was a lot of stuff I learned from that movie. And it was it was well done, but it was done right. And like I said, I love these type of movies, and I'm hoping this is good. I never watched it yet, but what I'm hearing from the general audience is good. But critics are always going to say it's not good. That's just my opinion. All right, we're going to give you one more, and I'm going to end on a good note. This happened last week. It happened last Saturday. College football referee interrupts penalty to honor military veterans. A college football referee recently took a moment during a penalty call to honor military veterans, reminding us of the importance and recognizing those who served. This video went viral of this referee doing this. He saluted the military and everyone that was involved in the military, and then he went to do the penalty. Now, it's sad. This is the point I would think of. It's sad that a referee had to do this during a penalty call. It could have been planned. I don't know, but I'm just saying this should be done all the time. And look, the NFL and college football and a lot of sporting events do honor our military. They don't show it on the screen no more. If you know, there's a lot of football and major sports events, they don't show the national anthem. Now, if it's the Super Bowl or college football playoff championship, and I'm thinking of football right now because this was done by football, but if you watch like the championship games, they will do the national anthem and they will honor America. But they don't do this no more. And look, they didn't do it before, and then they started doing it. People got used to it. Then you had the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, and they started going ahead and protest the flag and whatnot. And it started a trend. They stopped doing it because the NFL and other sports organizations didn't want to offend certain group of people, as we talked about earlier with the word woman, misspelling it to not offend people. But this was a time when if you notice, when they did this was a time they honored America and honored the military. The military would go out there with a flag. They'll do 21 gun salutes or something like that. They'll fly over. It was to honor America, but also honor its military. And it's not being done no more, except for a big sporting event where everybody's seen it. And for this man to do this on the flag, I commend him for honoring our military. Now, I don't know if this was done. I didn't see that if it was done at the Army-Navy game. I think that was the only game that was there, so maybe that's why, because Donald Trump was there too. They saluted the soldiers and they honored the veterans that were there. All those soldiers were part of West Point. All them football players were part of West Point or the Naval Academy, so maybe that's why he did it. Maybe he did it for that way, but it was a real touching moment that he honored our heroes when they don't get recognized that much on national television. And this is something we need to do. We need to honor our veterans, former and current, because look, former military personnel, they don't get the credit they deserve either. Some of them go ahead and they live a great life, but some of them go on the streets and they live horrible lives. Some of them can't afford health care. Some of them can't do, and this is something that the federal government, we should take care of our military. The people that protect us and serve us for we can keep our freedom. And we shouldn't just do this on Christmas. We shouldn't just do this on Thanksgiving. We should do this year round. And it's sad. It's sad that I'm not trying to bring politics into this, but it is sad that we have immigrants, illegal immigrants that are coming over the border, staying in 5-star hotels, while we have certain military personnel or former military personnel that are living on the streets and don't have a dime to their name and get no recognition. And like I said, look, on that note, thank you. If you're listening and you were part of the military, thank you for your service. If you're a first responder, thank you for your service. Because we without you, we wouldn't be free. Imagine if all the military say, look, we won't do nothing no more. The first adversary would come and take us over. But our military protects us. Our military is supposedly supposed to fight for our needs. We understand with current administration and other administrations. And look, the military were forced to do things that were not right. You know, and I'm talking about like Vietnam and other places like that. But these people still fought to protect our country. And, you know, by golly, I'm glad this happened. This was a bright spot in the weekend. Thank you to everybody that's part of the military. And let's remember their sacrifice for our freedoms and for our civil. Now, with that being said, I want to thank you for being part of the show. That's going to wrap up this show. I know I've been going long because I have so much stories. Again, I said this is when I wish I had time to do a daily show, but unfortunately, time has escaped me in a lot of areas. But I want to thank everybody for listening and watching the show. You guys are a blessing. Again, we at the start of this episode we was at 104 followers. I hope we got some more during the show. But I need your help. Guys, all 104 followers, if you watch this sometime in the future, go ahead and tell your friends about us. If you're part of the chat right now, go ahead and share this show. It would help me out more than you know. Also, go check out the Amber May Show. Go check out the Two Mike's Live Show, the Mike Swartz Show. Go check out Jeff Ahern. Go check out Handy News. We're going to be rating Handy News right after this. So go ahead and check those shows out and also hit the follow button for them. This helps us out more than you know. We are a coalition of podcasters that we're trying to help each other out, but we're also trying to get the word of faith, liberty, and justice for all out as well. Again, remember that Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus will overcome the world. If you don't know Jesus, your Lord and Savior, and you want to know more about Jesus, you can always contact me at thecajunconservative5@gmail.com. I will get in touch with you. I'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Again, thank you for being part of the show today. We will see you next time here on the show. Join us tonight for Two Mics Live on Rumble. We will see you. Y'all have a good one. Be blessed.